What's going on, guys? It's Divij Vaswani. Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about something that I get a lot of questions about, and that is, how do you actually write an offer on a property, right? Whether you're a fix and flipper or even you're a realtor and you're helping your clients buy and sell properties, how do you actually get that property under contract? In the industry, we call it locking a property up, and the only way you can do that is by knowing how you actually use the RPA and then actually submit that RPA to the listing agent to consider your offer for the property. So today I'm going to actually show you guys how to write an offer, and I'm going to go into my computer here and we're going to be writing up an offer on a property in Riverside, California that I'm actually looking to fix and flip for myself. You guys are going to learn all about what a residential purchase agreement actually is, as well as some of the other documents that you have to actually include with your RPA when you're submitting an offer to a listing agent. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, turn post notifications on, and let's get into the video. All right, guys, so we're here on my computer. We're now gonna actually go into car.org, which is the California Association of Realtors, and this is actually the place that you're gonna go to actually access your RPA. So let's just dive into it. So you're gonna go sign in, and remember, you have to be a licensed agent in order to even access this, but it's pretty easy to get your license. I'm gonna do a whole different video on how to actually get it, but basically you just have to go to a real estate school, take a couple of courses. It usually takes 2 to 3 months, and then you have to take the state exam, and then you'll have your license. It's really not that complicated of a process, but anyways, let's get straight into this offer. So you're gonna log in here, and you have to go to access zip form. It validates your membership. Usually doesn't take more than a few seconds, so you go to continue to transactions. Now let's actually look at the property that we're writing the offer on today. Let's log into here first. Okay, great. So this is the property here, right? This is a property in Riverside, California that actually has a lot of potential. It's definitely a fix and flip. However, it's more of a cosmetic fix and flip. So it really is not going to require that much work. You can look at some of the pictures here. Let's see. That's the outside of the house. As you can see, it needs a little bit of landscaping, probably new carpets, probably make this, hardwood floors, get rid of the tile. This is actually like a tile looking countertop. So we're going to put granite in here, restain the cabinets, repaint the entire interior. The bathroom is honestly pretty solid. Maybe just do a different, different vanity and then different light fixtures. And then this is actually an added bedroom. It's a bonus room, so maybe you convert this into a bedroom. This is actually a little kitchenette inside one of the bedrooms, which is actually, definitely a plus for a mother-in-law or if you have kids. So we're gonna put carpet throughout here. Another bedroom. And we'll probably redo this, definitely redo that shower door. Clean up the backyard, and that's the house. So today we're going to be writing an offer on this property. It's 1425 American Drive. So we're going to go into our transaction folder. You're going to go to documents, and I already have the documents pulled up, but basically you just come to all forms and you'd access your documents from here. So if you want the residential purchase agreement, you just type that in and it would pop up. And so it's right here. Let's let that load. Now this is the disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship. This is basically just outlining the fact that you as an agent are representing your buyer or seller in this transaction. So you typically leave this blank. We're going to actually take that name out, and we're going to actually write the offer under my LLC. So you're going to hit buyer. Now this is the real estate broker. That's my company that I work for. You're going to put their license. That's my name, my license. And then we're going to go down to the next page. These are just some other, civil code section, kind of just like different terms and stuff. We never really reference that, but we can just go to the next page. Possible representation of more than one buyer or seller, disclosure and consent. This is basically saying that the broker may be working with many prospective buyers at the same time. Same on the seller side. We basically just, have to put our information here. That's my entity. That is the broker that's actually representing the transaction that I work for. I'm the agent, and that's the broker. Actually, I believe on this one, her name is Tom, or his name, Tom Tennant. So we're gonna put his name here, and then you're gonna find his license number right here. So 02014163. So we're gonna write that there. And then you've got the company name. So company name is right here, Reliance Real Estate Services. You're gonna add this here.
oh, you know what, I actually did it backwards. That's the company name, and then here is his name. And then you've got to put the license numbers right here, so we'll switch this. And then I'll come back and add that in later. And then you put the dates. Now we get to the next page. Wire fraud and electric funds transfer advisory. Obviously, when you're a buyer, you have to put in an EMD on the property to send the EMD into escrow to actually lock a property up, right? So this is basically just talking about wire fraud, because guess what, guys? There actually is a lot of wire fraud that happens in real estate, and it kind of just is what it is. So we have to kind of make sure that, you know, everyone's aware of this. Now we're going to put the right address in here. 25 American Drive, and that's in Riverside, California, and the zip code is 92501. Cool. So now it's gonna auto-populate the buyer's name. Now this is really the first page of the RPA. It says California Residential Purchase Agreement. You're gonna put today's date in here. You're gonna put this is an offer from the buyer. You're gonna have the address here. The county is Riverside County. You're gonna have the zip code. Now the APN is the assessor's parcel number, which you can actually get right here from the MLS. So it's 206 271 006. And that's basically just the actual property, right? That's the property number. I'm gonna do a 14-day escrow because we're gonna do an all cash offer. That's the seller's brokerage name, seller's agent, the license, same here. Now this right here is the initial deposit. So this is where typically the EMD or the earnest money deposit usually is about 3% of the offer amount. So on this, we're actually going to be offering, this one's $349,900. That's the listing price. We're going to be offering $339,000. And our EMD is typically going to be that 3%, but we're actually going to bump up our EMD to 6%. Just to make the offer more competitive, right? So 6% of 339,000 is 20,340. So we're gonna put that number there. Now remember, the EMD can actually come back to you as long as you haven't removed all the contingencies. Now we'll get into contingencies and what those are, but there's three main contingencies. There's the appraisal contingency, there's the inspection contingency, and the loan contingency. Now, when you remove all three of those, that's when your EMD or the buyer's EMD in this case is at risk. But let's say you get the appraisal and the appraisal checks out, you get the inspection done, the inspection checks out, but then the loan for some reason gets held up or it doesn't go through, and now you can't actually buy the property. If you haven't removed that contingency, you can actually get this EMD back. But when you remove all three contingencies and then you as the buyer decide not to pursue the transaction, that's when your EMD is put at risk, okay? Now, typically you have to have the EMD within 3 days. We're gonna make it more competitive and have the EMD into escrow within 2 days. Don't worry about increased deposit. Typically, increased deposit is a little bit different because this actually puts your deposit at risk. So I never really, deal with this at all. It's an all cash offer, so we'll click that. And our sufficient funds to close this transaction is going to be attached. So we're actually going to attach our proof of funds to the offer. There's no loan since it's an all cash offer. Now we're looking at financing terms. It's an all cash offer, no loan contingency, no appraisal, and we're going to do a 14-day escrow. So that means that the only contingency we actually have is going to be the inspection contingency, okay? Now this tells you the balance of the down payment. So since our offer is $339,000, you subtract $20,340 from that number, and it gets you this number, which is the difference, right? Because the EMD is contributed towards your down payment and your closing costs, essentially. So that's the whole purchase price. Now let's scroll down. The appraisal, if this agreement is not contingent upon the appraisal, because we're not doing an appraisal, there's no loan contingency, so we're going to click this. Click that. I don't know what's going on. Okay, now, typically with this section, I literally just do buyer's inspection advisory, and then maybe sometimes I'll do the statewide buyer and seller advisory. But in this case, just click that box and you're pretty much good to go. If it's not a probate and there's no short sale or it's not a foreclosure and it's just a normal transaction, just click that box. Now here you can sort of put in any additional terms that you want to have on your offer, right? So in this case, it's an all cash offer, 14-day escrow, no loan and no appraisal, subject to inspection. So that's going to be our additional terms here. You can really use this space for whatever you want. Now we're looking at the allocation of costs, right? So the buyer typically is not responsible for paying for this, but since this is a fix and flip and we really want to get this property at a discount and sort of, we're okay spending a little bit of money on these reports, okay? So NHD is basically a natural hazard zone disclosure report. That typically is around $90, so we'll pay for that. Termite report's usually $100, so I'm gonna pay for that. For smoke alarm, this is basically just government requirements and retrofit. The seller is gonna be responsible for paying this, so we're gonna click seller. This is basically just to make sure they have carbon monoxide, water heater, all that stuff actually installed on the property. Now we're going to go down here. We're going to just pay for any sort of costs with compliance with any other minimum mandatory government inspections, etc. So we're going to just do that. We usually each pay our own fees, so the seller will pay their own escrow fees, buyer will pay their own escrow fees, and then we're going to get here into owner's title insurance. We're going to put seller, and then you're going to have seller's choice. We're going to have the seller pay for the county transfer tax and city transfer tax if applicable. HOA, we'll go ahead and hit this. We'll pay for that because I don't think there's an HOA because it's SFR and there's so 0 HOA. So we'll just put that we'll pay for it because guess what? We're not actually paying for anything. Now this is right here is a little bit tricky. So once we get the termite report back, right, we have to decide who's going to actually pay for any sort of termite work. So typically the seller will pay for what's called Section 1 termite work, and then the buyer will pay for whatever else, so Section 2 and any additional work. But in this case, I'm going to put that the buyer and seller are going to split any Section 1 termite work, and then the buyer will pay for any Section 2. So let's say the Section 1 work comes out to $600. The buyer will pay $300, the seller will pay $300. Now we're going to have us, the buyer paying for the home warranty plan. So we're going to get it from First American Home Warranty, and it's going to be not exceeding $700. Now we'll move on. Now this section basically covers what items are included and excluded from the sale. So if you look at the pictures on this property, okay, so now we're going to look at items included and excluded in the sale. Like I said, we're going to have all stoves included in the sale, and we don't really want the refrigerator and the washer dryer because we're going to put our own in there, so we'll pass on that. Now here we'll look at, does the buyer actually intend or not intend to actually occupy the property, right? So in this case, we're actually flipping this house. So we're not actually going to be occupying the property, so we're going to hit does not intend. Let's scroll down here. Basically just pass by this. Seller has a certain amount of time to disclose whether the property is a condominium. In this case, the property is not, but we'll just say that they have 3 days to let us know. You can really scroll down. Now this section right here is pretty important. It actually is really important because this is basically referring to all of the inspection contingency, right? So this tells you how much time does the seller have to disclose everything. So if there's a death in the property that they have to disclose, or there's certain things like lead-based paint or anything like that, they have to disclose it usually within 7 days. But since we're doing a quick 14-day escrow, we're going to say that they have 4 days to disclose everything to us. And then buyer, as in us, have 8 days to actually do our inspection and actually review all the disclosures and reports that the seller gives to us. So we're going to give ourselves 8 days, and that means that we have to remove that inspection contingency within those 8 days. And if we don't, then the seller can cancel, right? So that's very important. Now, typically, we're not going to remove all contingencies because that's when your EMD is really put at risk. So we're not going to do that because we do have the inspection contingency. Now let's scroll down. This is basically just remedies for breach of contract, any sort of dispute resolution. You usually just sign there. I don't really read that part. Now this part basically says how long does the seller have to review our offer, right? So today is September 17th, okay? So we're typically, the default is 3 days. We're gonna actually give them 2 days, okay? So instead of giving them until Monday, we're gonna give them until Saturday at 5 o'clock to give us a response. Now this is gonna put a little bit of pressure on the seller and the seller's agent to really get back to us as soon as possible, because guess what? The chances are that they're gonna have a lot of different offers on this property, and we're offering them all cash, so we feel like we deserve a response really, really quickly. So that's why we're gonna do that. You're gonna put our information here. This is typically when they accept the offer, they'll sign this. So you can just ignore that for now. This is, you have to put the agent's name, so I put my name there. Buyer's inspection advisory, that'll be signed. and this is the California Consumer Privacy Act advisory. So that's pretty much the RPA, guys. There's really not much to it. It's really not that complicated. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about the RPA, feel free to reach out to me, put a comment down below, and I'll definitely answer any questions I can. Now this is a coronavirus property entry advisory declaration. So due to COVID, if you're entering a property, you have to fill this property form out and give it to the the listing agent before you actually go to the property. So I'm gonna put the address here. That's in Riverside, California. And then we're basically just gonna sign this. So that's called the PEAD. Now, also due to COVID, you have to have a coronavirus addendum. This is a very basic form. Just fill out the property info and then sign it down below. And then since we are writing an offer under an entity, we have to do the representative capacity signature disclosure. So the property or our entity is an LLC. So we're going to check entity, LLC, and then I am the sole CEO of this entity. So I'm going to put CEO, and then I'll go ahead and sign that. And then you basically just have to put your agent's information here. And that is it, guys.
So I hope this lesson was super informative for everybody, and if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them down in the comments below. I'm going to be reading all the comments and replying to every single one of them, and don't be afraid to ask any question, because well, guess what? Every question is a good question. This is super helpful for you guys, and if you guys have your real estate license and you're ready to start writing up offers, I hope you're able to use this video as a lesson to now actually go write your own offers on properties, whether you're looking to buy and sell, fix and flip, whatever your goals are in real estate. So that's it for this video. Again, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, turn post notifications on, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.